During its remarkably consistent and lengthy run, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has brought viewers the dark and hilarious adventures of the gang, who never learn the typical sitcom lessons as they amusingly make the world a worse place. It's an intimate DIY affair, which makes for a very loose set prone to improvisation. With that in mind, here are some of the funniest bloopers ever captured during the filming of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In Season 10, the gang undertook one of its most notorious activities to date, attempting to match Hall of Famer Wade Boggs' supposed off-the-field record. According to lore, Boggs once drank 70 beers during a cross-country flight. Only Dee and Charlie make it all the way to 70 by the time their plane lands in Los Angeles, but not without some consequences. It turns out that drinking that much beer is going to make even the heaviest drinker a little gassy.
That is disgusting.
Give it to me. Two.
Oh my God, it really is disgusting.
It was pulled pork.
In this scene, two long-running plot threads converge. The first, Dennis is most likely a psychopath, and second, the gang is frequently dismissive of Dee, the most reasonable person in their midst. Dennis and Dee are twins, and yet nobody yells at Dee with as much ferocity and venom as Dennis. Here, he rants about as darkly as he's ever ranted, so offended by some minor slight.
I will dice you into a tiny million little pieces. I will shove you into a box. I will shove you into a box, and I'll put that box into the freezer.
The Patty's Pub crew has tried a lot of get-rich-quick schemes, but none are as enduring as Fight Milk. Charlie and Mac concocted this alcoholic, dairy-based protein drink for bodyguards by bodyguards. According to Charlie, it also, oddly, gives consumers the strength of a crow. Mac and Charlie try to attract interest in Fight Milk the way the gang usually promotes a product, with a terrible homemade commercial. These outtakes are from that ill-fated shoot.
What up? Do you have good ideas? Fight Milk! No, this is what we do. Go! 3, 2, Fight Milk!
In the 7th season, Mac puts on a large amount of weight. Forever obsessed with physical fitness, he proclaims that he's cultivating mass, conflating adding flabby pounds to his body with getting muscular. As a result, he spends a lot of his time eating junk food, particularly in his downtime. Like when he and Charlie are hanging out in a van during a stakeout mission, Charlie just wants to snag one chip.
The world doesn't provide Charlie with chips just because he wants chips, okay? No, Jack, don't ask again!
One of Sunny's most popular recurring characters is Rickety Cricket, a former high school classmate of the gang who went on to become a priest before hitting a downward spiral of homelessness, drug addiction, and disfigurement. This blooper comes from a scene in which Cricket eats lemons for sustenance. Dennis has proven himself to be a violent, reckless person with a deep animosity for anything he perceives to be below his station in life. In this 4th season clip, he and Charlie walk into a pretty rundown home. Dennis immediately shows disdain by sarcastically referring to the place as charming and quaint. Then, to emphasize his verbal eye-rolling, he picks up a vase and throws it.
Whoa! This is an unbreakable vase, dude! This is a joke!
Mac was raised almost entirely by his silent, chain-smoking mother, as his father, Luther, spent Mac's whole life in prison. Mac understandably has some daddy issues to work through, and in a Season 2 episode, he tries to connect with Luther by visiting him in the big house. When Mac offers to do whatever he can to win his dad's love, he asks Mac and Charlie to smuggle heroin into the prison for him. Mac tries to use the favor as a bargaining chip, while Charlie gets a little overenthusiastic.
If you could just give us a little advice on how to handle the situation, I promise we will come back with our butts filled.
Oh, like a Christmas stocking.
Somehow, someway, Charlie gets a date in one 5th season episode, so his friends provide lots of advice for the big night. For one, they specifically tell him to not eat any cheese, but Charlie can't help but eat cheese when he's nervous, and, well, being on a date makes him nervous. Mac and Dennis find a workaround, telling Charlie just not to breathe in the direction of his companion. So instead, he gives them a whiff of his tremendously stinky cheese breath.
Just don't.
All right, that's it. Wow.